I have an antisocial personality, but I aspire to be a good person. From childhood to adulthood, I have only killed two people. One is my father, and the other is his lover. Until I was 20 years old, my sister was bullied at school. Unable to bear the humiliation, she jumped from the 18th floor, so I put on my school uniform and went back to school. As soon as I entered my sister's class, several boys were terrified, and their eyes were filled with guilt. The reason is simple. My sister and I look too much alike. When I took the initiative to introduce myself as Xiao Suzui's sister, their expressions eased a lot. I knew in my heart that these boys were inseparable from my sister's death. I lowered my eyes and sat silently in my sister's original seat. My shoulders were shaking slightly. I was excited. There were so many people waiting for me to solve them. How could I not be excited? But someone misunderstood what I meant. As soon as I sat down, the boy next to me started talking. Why, you're scared now. I don't know how many days we can play. His uncomfortable gaze swept over me, and he continued to comment. This chest is bigger than your sister's, but I don't know who played with it to make it bigger. The other boys laughed knowingly. I slowly turned my head, grabbed his lower body, and squeezed it hard. You like to play, right? I'll play with you to your heart's content. The boy's face was pale, and he bent his body in embarrassment and screamed like a pig being slaughtered. I sneered. You scream so loudly. Are you so happy? He sweated profusely and stammered. Stop, stop. I grinned. I know, you boys say no and yes. After that, I twisted 180 degrees to the left, and when I saw that he was about to faint, I let go of my hand with disgust and wiped my hand on his clothes. It's just this little thing. You can play with it yourself. He fainted completely after hearing this. I smiled nonchalantly. It's good to be young. I can fall asleep right away. I turned to look at the other boys. Why do you want to play with me too? Do you think we are afraid of you? Their faces were not very good, and they looked at me with malicious eyes and walked towards me. Linger, that's enough. You guys are a bunch of boys. Don't you feel ashamed to bully a girl? When the anger was on the verge of breaking out, a girl spoke righteously and pushed the boy next to her. Brother Hui Yan, what do you think? I squinted my eyes, not knowing what Su Man was up to. In the diary left by my sister before her death, it was written that the culprit of her suicide was Su Man and Gu Hui Yan in front of her. Gu Hui Yan and Su Man were childhood sweethearts. At the beginning, they had a conflict, and Su Man was angry and had close contact with other boys. In order to make Su Man jealous, Gu Hui Yan pursued my sister. Gu Hui Yan is handsome, good at studying, and even better to my sister. My sister soon fell for him. Later, Su Man took the initiative to reconcile with Gu Hui Yan and started dating him, but the existence of my sister was always a thorn in his heart. In order to make Su Man happy, Gu Hui Yan abandoned my sister, drugged my sister, and let her be insulted by his gang of brothers. The Gu family has a strong background in City A. In order to prevent my sister from calling the police, Gu Hui Yan threatened her with my mother's safety. My sister endured it from my mother, and from then on she became a plaything of their beasts until she couldn't hold on and jumped from the 18th floor. My mother only then knew what kind of life my sister had in school, so she came to me, hoping that I could avenge my sister. Unlike my kind sister, I am a born bad seed and have a pair of very evil eyes, which are inherited from my grandmother's family. Anyone who sees my eyes will lose their minds and listen to me as long as I want. When I was 6 years old, my father and his lover tried to throw my sister and me from the 20th floor, so I asked my father to kill his lover with his own hands, and then let him commit suicide in despair. Seeing my father die in front of me, I was not afraid at all. I was excited by human fear, tears, and blood. When my mother found out, she immediately sent me to my grandmother to teach me so that I would not go astray. My mother said that I could go home after I learned to control my desire to kill from my grandmother. I thought we would be reunited one day, but I didn't expect that I would receive the news of my sister's death before my family reunited. When I saw my sister in the morgue, I was shocked to find that the white and chubby little girl in my memory was so thin that only a bag of bones remained. There were all kinds of new and old scars on her body, including knife wounds and burns, which were shocking. On her chest and thighs, There were even malicious tattoos such as bitch and whore. I dare not think about how she has lived these years. I am not going to kill the people who caused my sister to jump off the building directly. This is too easy for them. I want to return to them the suffering my sister suffered in her lifetime, bit by bit, which is fair. What I have learned from my grandmother over the years is not only to control my desire to kill. I have too many ways to make people want to live, but not to want to die, but not to. Gu Huiyan looked at me with disgust and said to Su Man, don't meddle in other people's business. She is just like her sister, a bitch who loves to seduce people to make mistakes. The head teacher walked in at this time and asked what happened here. Gu Huiyan told me everything. Finally he commented, Chen Xiaoji was just joking with her. She was too serious. I looked at the head teacher, Mr. Xiao. Do you think so too? The head teacher snorted. Chen Xiaoji did say something a bit too much, but the fault is really yours. Boys nowadays are at the age when they can't stand temptation. You should wear more clothes. Why would he say such things to you? After that, he smiled at Gu Huiyan in a flattering way. It was over 20 degrees. I was wearing a t-shirt and a school uniform jacket. What's inappropriate about that? The head teacher was puzzled. What are you laughing at? I saw Chen Xiaoji, who had fainted, opened his eyes and looked like he had woken up slowly. Nothing. You taught me. I will apologize to Chen Xiaoji. The head teacher looked relieved. That's right. I leaned close to Chen Xiaoji's in a voice that only the two of us could hear. Now do what you just wanted to do to me. Double the amount and do it. Teacher Zhao and Gu Weiyan. The classmate has a need. And as a good person, of course you have to satisfy him. Chen Xiaoji saw my eyes, and his eyes, which were not clear to begin with, became even more chaotic. When the head teacher was proud, Chen Xiaoji suddenly stood up and threw the head teacher to the ground. The head teacher was still a little confused when he saw Chen Xiaoji forcibly pulling down his pants in front of him. He touched him all over and said with disgust, You look so dark. I don't know how many men you have slept with. The head teacher's face was flushed red, and he was extremely humiliated. Chen Xiaoji, do you have a serious illness? I am a man. What are you going to do to me? Don't scream. Chen Xiaoji slapped him directly. You will have a good time later. The next second, the head teacher screamed like a pig being slaughtered. This is what the head teacher deserves. My sister wrote in her diary that when she was harassed by several boys at the beginning, she asked the head teacher for help. The head teacher was not only indifferent, but also asked her to reflect on herself more. It was because of the head teacher's indifference that my sister fell deeper and deeper into hell. When other students saw this scene, their pupils began to tremble and make sharp noises. Some even took out their mobile phones and took pictures of this scene. The head teacher was almost fainted from the pain, and he yelled, What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and pull Chen Xiaoji away. The classmates finally came to their senses, and Gu Huiyan and the others hurried to pull him away. Chen Xiaoji took the opportunity to pounce on Gu Huiyan, biting and gnawing at him like a mad dog. Gu Huiyan was afraid of ending up like the head teacher, so she punched Chen Xiaoji twice, and while he was dizzy, she subdued him with her backhand. Gu Huiyan's fair face was stained with a little anger. Chen Xiaoji, what the hell are you doing? I said quietly beside him. Class monitor, don't blame Chen Xiaoji. I just saw it all. Your butt is so white. You are a little slut who likes to seduce people to make mistakes. And the class teacher is the same, knowing that boys nowadays are at an age where they can't withstand temptation. But you still have to wear a t-shirt and shorts, exposing a pair of arms and legs. Isn't this seducing him to make mistakes? If I were to say you two are fully responsible for this matter. The class teacher was furious. Xiao Tang, don't talk nonsense to me. I spread my hands, looking innocent. How can this be considered as sarcasm? When Chen Xiaoji harassed me just now, you and the class monitor taught me this. The class teacher pulled his hair madly and said helplessly and furiously, I'm really going crazy. After this incident, Chen Xiaoji was sent to a mental hospital by his parent. After I went to see him once, he was completely crazy. The head teacher and Gu Huiyan were not much better off. Someone recorded the farce that day and posted it on the school forum. Although it was deleted quickly, many people still saw it. Now many people will smile knowingly when they see the head teacher and Gu Hui Yan. When going to the bathroom, some brave boys will stare at the head teacher and Gu Hui Yan and then say to the brothers around them with a smile, Chen Xiaoji is really not picky. He can eat even the kind of stuff that teacher Xiao is. This was met with laughter. The head teacher was extremely angry and his face turned red. You bunch of little bastards, shut up. The boy pouted. These days, is it wrong to tell the truth? Teacher Xiao, you are too sensitive, right? The head teacher didn't understand. He was obviously the victim, so why did he become the object of ridicule in the end? Later, he deliberately chose to go to the bathroom alone when the students were in class. As for Gu Huiyana and her gang of boys, they were much more unscrupulous. Not only did they openly comment, she's so white, no wonder she can Dr. Chin Shenji crazy, but some dark-skinned sports students would suddenly touch Gu Huiyan's butt and ask him, are you ready to come? As soon as they saw Gu Huiyan was about to take action, they ran away. Gu Huiyan had no way to deal with them and was disgusted. I heard that Gu Huiyan had smashed his office in the student union several times. The harassment that my sister had experienced on campus has now fallen on Gu Huiyan, the instigator. Once I happened to see the whole process of Gu Huiyan being harassed by a sports student. Gu Huiyan did not go to the sports student for trouble, but pointed the finger at me. Xiao Tang, don't be complacent. I have a big gift for you. I hope you can still laugh when that time comes. He blamed all the misfortunes he had encountered recently on me. In his opinion, if I hadn't suddenly attacked Chen Xiaoji would not have been stimulated and suddenly went crazy and did such things to him in the old class, and he would not be looked at with such strange eyes by others. I curled my lips. What coincidence! I also have a big gift for you after all. I am determined to be a polite and good person, and when others give me a big gift, I must give him a good return. Gu Huiyan saw that I was not afraid at all and was very unhappy. He sarcastically said, take advantage of the time to laugh, laugh well. Sometimes ignorance is also a kind of happiness. Ignorance. In fact, I knew what Gu Huiyan was going to do to me the day before yesterday. To be more precise, it was what Gu Huiyan and Su Man were going to do to me together. During the physical education class that day, I went to the bathroom. After a while, Su Man and his followers came. They probably thought that there was no one in the bathroom, so they started to plot loudly. One of the followers asked Su Man, Sister Gu Huiyan has already made such a big grudge with Xiao Tang. Why are you still so close to him? Yes, during this period, Su Man has been very enthusiastic towards me. I don't know what he wants to do, but it doesn't matter. No matter what he wants to do, I will accompany him. Through the door I heard Su Man say, of course, let Xiao Ang willingly jump into the trap I prepared for him. To tell you the truth, I feel sick when I see Xiao Ang's face that is the same as that of Xiao Suzhu I, the little bitch. Xiao Tang is really stupid. He really treats me as a friend. He told me that he came here to find out the truth about his sisters jumping off the building, but he didn't know that I was one of the culprits who caused his sister to commit suicide. I also want to push him into hell so that he won't come to bother me and bother Huiyan again. He looked proud and told his followers the plan he and Gu Huiyan had discussed. After listening to him, the followers gave him thumbs up again and again. Sister Man, Man and Brother Gu are still smart. When he attends your birthday party tomorrow, he will be skinned alive if he doesn't die. If I were Xiao Tang, I would have no face to live in this world. I also think that his plan is extremely vicious and excellent. Originally, I planned to give him an unforgettable surprise at his birthday party. After hearing his plan, I have been playing tricks on these people for a while, and it is time to give them a dose of Chinese medicine. The next day, I attended Su Man's birthday party as scheduled. In addition to the friends of the Su family in the business world, most of the people who came to this birthday party were classmates. The birthday party was held in the hotel. Su Man wore a small dress and a small diamond crown. With the blessings of everyone, she ushered in her 18th birthday. She smiled very brightly. How could she not be happy? He has a family who loves him, a lover who likes him, and friends who hold him in his arms. His future is also bright. Unlike my poor sister, who was betrayed by her lover, bullied by the boys in the class, ignored by the teacher and surrounded by endless darkness. She jumped from the 18th floor before she turned 18, ending her painful life and finally dyeing her world with. After dinner at the hotel, Su Man took our classmates to KEV to continue celebrating. Gu Hui, Yan and her group of boys went to the convenience store to buy things and will come later. I had been sitting in the corner for a while when Suman handed me a glass of champagne. Tang Tang, this is delicious, try it. Okay. I looked defenseless and let Suman pour me glass after glass of champagne. Soon I felt dizzy. I'm going to the bathroom. Suman showed a triumphant smile. Go early and come back early. After I went out, my expression instantly became clear. When I passed by the next room, the door was suddenly opened. It was dark inside, as if a terrifying monster was hiding. The next second, a big hand grabbed me and pulled me in forcefully. I walked in with almost no struggle. There were a dozen men in the room, all tall and strong, with colorful hair, and they looked very difficult to mess with. Seeing that I looked clear-headed, they muttered casually, "Didn't you say you were Rock? Why do I look sober?" "Never mind, little sister, give me the phone." The brothers have no other intentions. They just want to transfer some money to you for charity. I would never believe their lies. That day in the gym, I heard Suman's plan clearly. He would trick me into going to KEV in the name of a birthday party, get me half drunk, and let me be insulted by these men. In another hour, he would lead a group of people to find me, and those men would throw dirty water on me with a clear conscience, saying that I took the initiative to have sex with them for money, and the payment records in my phone were the best proof. At that time, not only would I be expelled from school, but I would also be splashed with dirty water that could never be washed off. They were not afraid of me calling the police at all. In their eyes, my sister and I were the same person. As long as they threatened me with my mother's safety, I would suffer this loss. At this moment, I looked at the big men calmly. What if I don't? The big men's faces darkened. It seems that you don't want to be punished. Of course not. I smiled slightly. It's just that how can I satisfy so many of you? You wait for me here for a while. I will find a few more people for. The leader snorted coldly. Are we so stupid? You will definitely not come back once you go out. As he said, the group of people came over and surrounded me, and their disgusting eyes swept over me. I raised my eyelids and glanced at them, and a pair of black eyes flashed a faint green light. Be obedient. When they met my gaze, their expressions instantly became dull and stopped moving. Okay, we will wait for you here. I curled my lips, that's right. After leaving the private room, I turned and went to the fire escape staircase. Gu Hui Yan and others who were originally going to the convenience store were waiting there. As early as when they left Su Man's birthday party, I controlled and hypnotized Gu Hui Yan and others, asking them to wait for me here after returning from the convenience store. I said softly, "Okay, come with me." They didn't show any resistance and followed me. In this way, I lead Gu Hui, Yan, and others to the private room. As soon as the door was closed, I smiled badly at the big men. I keep my word. The people have been brought to you. Now you can do whatever you want to them. As soon as the voice fell, the group of insane big men pounced on Gu Hui, Yan, and others like hungry wolves. When Gu Hui Yan and others were stripped of their pants, I snapped my fingers to wake them up. They were still a little confused at first. Where is this? Why am I here? When they realized that there was someone pressing on them from behind and there, that's worse still, a little cold, they finally realized that something was wrong and began to struggle. I sighed in my heart. I am such a good person. I don't want to see Gu Hui Yan and the others being bullied unilaterally, and I gave them a chance to resist. Unfortunately, they were useless. They were suppressed by the big men and could only threaten them with their identities. Big men, stop, stop. Do you know who we are? Who gave you the courage to touch us? Let us go. Otherwise, when we get out, you will have a hard time. It would be strange if the big men listened to them. Regardless of their struggles, they started bang, 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 bang. Get out, you beasts! I will never let you go. Gu Hui Yan and the others never thought that they would be so brave and actually do such a thing to them. The big men didn't take their warning seriously and continued to bang, 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 bang. Gu Hui Yan and the others were in so much pain that their faces were twisted, and their nails were bleeding on the carpet. They finally remembered to ask for help. Help, murder. Is there anyone who can save us? Whoever can save us, we will give him 1 million. Please, anyone can save us. It was useless for them to shout to the sky. The box that Gu Huiyan and Su Man found had a great sound-proofing effect. Soon, their buttocks became bloody and they shed tears of despair as they looked at the door only a few meters away from them. Seeing this, I clapped my hands happily. Isn't this right? Gu Huiyan and others who are now under these big men have all bullied my sister. What's the point of just having sex with a woman? A real man should have sex with a man. They should also experience the pain and despair that my sister has suffered. Gu Huiyan and others finally noticed me sitting on the sofa. They looked angry. Xiao Tang, it's you who did it again. How dare you? Gu Huiyan suddenly felt that there was still hope. He and these big men didn't have any deep hatred. I must have bribed them with money. Since I can bribe them with money, so can he. He quickly said to the big man lying on him, how much money did Xiao Tang give you? I will give you double, no, 10 times, as long as you can let me go. I smiled and said, Student Gu, you are so young and your memory is not good. You should have paid the money for me a long time ago. Gu Huiyan suddenly had a bad premonition. What do you mean by this? Why don't you turn around and see who raped you? Gu Huiyan turned her head hard. The lights indicate EV word M. She squinted her eyes and finally saw the appearance of the man who violated her. This man took money from her and Suman yesterday and said that he would deal with me today. Gu Huiyan's face was as ugly as seeing a ghost. How could this happen? How could they listen to you? This is all thanks to your girlfriend. I told her everything I overheard in the bathroom that day. Gu Huiyan did not doubt that except for a few big men, only the two of them knew about this matter. When he learned that it was the person he loved the most who harmed him, he cried out in pain, man, you have harmed me so much. How much he loved Suman before, how much he hates her now. In the final analysis, a child of destiny like him loves himself the most. If he really loved Suman as much as his life, he would have been humble and coaxed her when they had a conflict, instead of dating my sister and making Suman jealous. Seeing the seeds of hatred planted in his heart, I raised the corners of my mouth and walked outside. The night is still long. You guys enjoy it. Listening to the heavy breathing of the man behind him and the unignorable pain from his buttocks, Gu Huiyan's expression instantly became extremely terrified, and the other boys turned pale and began to cry for mercy. Xiao Tang, please let us go. It was Gu Huiyan's idea that we treated your sister like that, and we were forced to do it. If you want to find trouble, find Gu Huiyan. We know we will. Gu Huiyan suddenly felt that something was wrong. If I really listened to them and let a dozen big men deal with him, he would be half dead today. His face turned livid. Shut up. I only let you bully Xiao Suzhui once, and then you just wanted to have fun and play with him again and again. It's all your fault. You forced Xiao Suzhui to death. Xiao Tang, I know I was wrong. I am willing to compensate your family. This is really a dog-by-dog show. I tilted my head to look at them. Do you really know you are wrong? Really? If I lead to you, I will not die a good death, and neither will my parents. Listening to their oaths, I burst out laughing. What a bunch of filial sons, I said. Then prove it to me. They hurriedly asked how to prove it. I smiled slightly. Of course, confiscate the tools used in the crime. In this way, you will never make the same mistake again. When they heard what I said, their faces turned pale. No, you can't do this. This will completely ruin us. Without our lives, we might as well die. They cried and begged me to show mercy and let them go. Some of them even wet their pants out of fear. Gu Huiyan saw my eyes full of blood-sucking and suddenly realized, you are playing tricks on us. You have never thought of letting us go, right? That's right. They scolded, Xiao Tang, how can you do this? Are you still human? I tilted my head in confusion, but this is how you treat my sister. My sister begged you over and over again. Can you let her go? You said at the beginning that you would no longer bother him after the end of the second year of high school. When the third year of high school started, you haunted my sister like a ghost, cruelly torturing him over and over again. You scolded my sister for being stupid and actually believing your lies. Unless you are tired of playing, you will never let him go. This became the last straw that broke the camel's back. Gu Hui, Anne's good brother, blurted out at this time, "Can you be the same as us?" As soon as the words came out, he realized that he had said the wrong thing and his face turned pale. I said with a fake smile, "Yes, he is different from you. He is a human being, and you are beasts." Thinking of this, I said to the big men, after cutting, "Remember to flush their things into the sewer." This time they struggled with all their strength, and the big men were so annoyed that they took belts and tied them up tightly. After doing all this, the big men broke a few beer bottles, picked up the glass fragments, and prepared to confiscate the tools used by Gu Hui, Yan, and others. They looked at the glass fragments getting closer and closer and roared, "Ah, Xiao Tang, I must kill you. You will not have a good end. I swear, Xiao Tang, you wait." I was annoyed by the noise, so I asked the big men to block their mouths tightly with smelly salt. After a while, the room was filled with the smell of blood. Gu Hui, Yan, and others were lying on the ground, looking half dead, but the look they gave me was like poison. I curled my lips and watched the big men flush the things into the sewer. I also asked them to turn up the music in the room to the maximum and dim the lights to the lowest before I went out. Calculating the time, the good show on the other side was about to start. I left the box, and 10 minutes later, Suman also came out from the next box. He brought a group of people looking worried about my safety and went to the bathroom to find me. He called my name for a long time, but no one responded. He just thought that his plan was successful, and I had been dragged into the cave, EV by the big men. When he saw the dean of studies, the head teacher, and other teachers coming from the other end of the corridor, out of the corner of his eye, he curled his lips slightly, then paced back and forth, pretending to be anxious. Where did Xiao An go? The head teacher saw Suman and frowned. "Suman, have you encountered any difficulties?" Suman saw the two of them as if she saw a savior. "Great, I can actually meet some teachers here." It was not a coincidence at all. Suman knew that every Saturday night at 9 o'clock, the dean of studies would come here with a few teachers who had a good relationship with her to sing and relax. So she came to this cave to celebrate her birthday and went out to find me at this time, just to let the dean of studies and others see my unbearable side and expel me in anger. Suman told the dean of studies about my disappearance in detail. The dean of studies was afraid of something happening, so he said plainly, "We can only call the police." Suman quickly winked at the follower beside her, and the follower understood and jumped out immediately. "Actually, I saw Xiao Tang when I went out just now." Suman was very excited and grabbed his arm and asked, "Then do you know where he went?" The follower pointed to the box where Gu Hui Yan was. Shouting entered that room. The dean of studies frowned. Did he go to the wrong room? No. The follower shook his head. It was the men in the room who stopped her at the door and asked her how much per night. She said a number, and the men transferred the money to her, and she took the initiative to follow them in. This matter, after all, it concerned Xiao Ang's reputation, so I didn't say it just now. Suman covered her mouth in surprise. "I know that Xiao's family conditions are average, but I didn't expect him to do such a thing." The head teacher curled her lips. "What's so strange about this? His sister has hooked up with so many boys in school. It's normal for him to do such a thing." Suman sighed lightly. Yes, his sister's private life is indeed chaotic. She usually hangs out with a group of gangsters. Later, they took nude photos of him and threatened him to do all kinds of excessive things. He couldn't stand it and jumped off the building to commit suicide. This is the most widely circulated version of my sister's death on the school forum. You don't have to think about it. This is the work of Gu Hui Yan and Suman. I stood at the corner expressionlessly and saw the ugly appearance of these two people throwing dirty water on my sister and pulled the corners of my mouth. "I see." The dean was fair and didn't listen to Suman's one-sided words. He decided to confirm the truth first. "Let's go and see if Xiao Tang is in there." He walked quickly to the box. As soon as the door was pushed open, a muffled groan of pain or pleasure came out of the room, mixed with the smell of lewdness. The dean's face immediately darkened. The room was dark and he couldn't see the scene inside clearly. He vaguely saw the people stacked together, and he could guess what the people in the room were doing. He shouted into the room, "Xiao Ang, put on your clothes quickly and get out." Then he closed the door in disgust to avoid dirtying the student's eyes. Old girl, this kind of unruly student should be expelled tomorrow to prevent him from ruining the school atmosphere. The head teacher was happy to see me in trouble and gloated over the suggestion. The dean had a cold face. If Xiao Tang really did that kind of ugly thing, we really can't tolerate him. Teacher Go, what do you want me to do? I stood not far behind him and asked curiously. Xiao Tang, why are you here? Su Man looked at me as if she saw a ghost, with disbelief on her face. I smiled and asked back, why can't I be here? Seeing me, the dean looked at Su Man's follower suspiciously. Su Man's follower stammered, I clearly saw you enter this box. Did you see it wrong? I was drunk in the bathroom and just woke up. Su Man didn't believe it. He clearly paid the big man to find the right time to pull me into the box. I couldn't have the opportunity to go to the bathroom. He thought I must have been slept with by the big men and took advantage of their relaxed vigilance to run out of the house. And then the men with no professional ethics found a few women to vent their desires. So he insisted, you must be lying. In my opinion, you have completed the transaction with them, and you must have a payment record on your phone. I tilted my head and frowned in confusion. What are you talking about? Why, here I understand. Su Man, we are good friends. How can you say that to me? I felt very aggrieved. The other students in the class looked at Su Man, and their eyes were more or less blaming. Su Man was extremely annoyed. Whether I have any misunderstanding or not, you can ask the people in the room and you will know. The dean of studies was a little worried. Is it inconvenient now? He estimated that there weren't any people in the room and they were all doing business. Wouldn't they be eaten if they broke in at such a young age? It's not inconvenient. Su Man pushed the door open and walked in, and did not forget to turn around and say to me, wait a minute, there will be witnesses and evidence, and I'll see how you can be stubborn. He pushed the door open and walked straight in. His followers were anxious to see the show, so they couldn't wait to enter the room, followed by the head teacher. There were too many people in the room, so the other students didn't go in to join in the fun. I didn't go in, but stood at the door and watched. The room was so dark that Su Man could only see a few figures lying on the ground. He covered his mouth and nose with disgust, and while shouting, everyone take a break, I have something to ask you, he fumbled to turn on the light. The next second, his eyes widened and he began to scream, ah, why is it Brother Hui Yan? Su Man originally had a gloating smile on the corner of his lips until the lights came on and he saw Gu Yan. His face suddenly changed. Gu Hui Yan seemed to be crazy. Her smile was distorted. She sat on the man with blood all over her body, holding glass fragments, stabbing the man's neck again and again, muttering, I'm going to kill you all, kill them all. The man under me was breathing out more than breathing in. His whole body was twitching, and it was obvious that he was dying. Gu Hui Yan and the others actually broke free from the big man's restraints. I quickly understood what was going on. These big men were too devoted to doing it, and Gu Hui Yan and his gang found an opportunity to escape, so they naturally died. The lights in the room suddenly came on, making Gu Hui Yan squint his eyes uncomfortably. When Su Man's voice rang out, the bloodshot in Gu Hui Yan's eyes became even more intense. He stood up and walked towards Su Man expressionlessly. Su Man noticed that there was blood on Gu Hui Yan's pants, and her voice was shaking. Brother Hui Yan, what's wrong with you? You still have the nerve to ask? It's all your fault. He didn't see me, and blamed Su Man for all the humiliation he suffered today and stabbed him twice in the face. If he hadn't been unable to control his mouth, he wouldn't have fallen to this point. The others were stunned when they saw his actions. Su Man felt the blood on his face and knew that he must have been disfigured. He was extremely devastated and felt that Gu Hui Yan in front of him was extremely unfamiliar. He took steps back in fear and couldn't help asking, Brother Hui Yan, are you crazy? Do you know what you are doing? Gu Hui Yan looked at him as if he was an enemy. Of course I know. My life is completely over, and you don't even think about having an easy time. As he spoke, his hands moved more fiercely. Su Man wanted to run, but it was too late. Gu Hui Yan was overwhelmed by hatred, and he would never let him go easily. Brother Hui Yan is right. It's all your fault for talking too much. His brothers followed suit and took out their anger on Su Man's followers. For a moment, the room was filled with cries of collapse. The head teacher wanted to save Su Man, not because he wanted to do a good deed, but purely because he wanted to get a good result for the Su family. He was attacked indiscriminately by a group of people. When the dean saw that the situation had gotten completely out of control, he quickly ran out to call the security guard. Before leaving, he remembered to close the door and told the students not to go in. When the classmates saw Su Man's miserable state, they dared not go in to watch the fun. They just whispered, "Why is Gu Hui Yan crazy?" Combined with what we just saw and heard, it seems that Gu Hui Yan and the others were slept with by men, and he thought that these men were hired by Su Man, so he started to attack Su Man. Damn, is it so explosive! Just now, the followers besides Su Man said that the person in the room was Xiao Ang. Could it be that the men originally wanted to sleep with Xiao Ang, but for some reason they slept with the wrong person? The more they discussed, the more they felt that this was the case, and I acted like I had survived disaster. Oh my God, how could Suman be so bad? I still considered him a friend. Fortunately, God blessed me and let me escape. The classmates in the class comforted me. According to the current situation in the room, they will never bother you again. They deserve it because they do evil. In fact, the classmates in the class also knew how bad Gu Hui Yan and his gang were. They were afraid of getting into trouble, so every time Gu Hui Yan and his gang did evil, they chose to be bystanders. I nodded. You are right. Looking at the blood flowing out of the house, I curled up the corners of my mouth slightly. The final development of this matter deviated from what I expected, but the result was the same. In my imagination, the big men would not die. After Gu Hui Yan and the others were rescued, they would definitely not let Su Man and his gang of followers go, but it would be better if they died. The bigger the incident, the better. The police came fairly quickly, but they were still too late. Gu Hui Yan and his gang had already stabbed to death the head teacher and several followers around Su Man. Su Man did not die, but his face was completely ruined, and his hands and feet were broken by the stool. Gu Hui Yan did not spare his life because he was soft-hearted. He was too cruel. He knew that Su Man valued appearance more than anything else, so he had his face completely ruined so that he would live in pain like him for the rest of his life. When Gu Hui Yan was taken away by the police, he was stunned when he saw me at the door. Zhao Tang, you didn't run away. I didn't do anything bad. Why should I run? As I said that, I lowered my eyes and covered my mouth in surprise. Student Gu, why is there so much blood on your pants? Did someone turn you into a eunuch? That's why you are psychologically twisted and attack indiscriminately. When other classmates heard what I said, that inquiring and suddenly enlightened look made Gu Hui Yan feel extremely humiliated. She started to struggle again. Xiao Tang, you wait. I won't let you go. I will definitely kill you. My classmates saw his serious and crazy expression when he looked at me, and they all felt a little sympathetic for me. What does this have to do with classmates Xiao Eng and Xiao Su's UI are so unlucky? They met Gu Hui Yan on Su Man, two crazy couples. Keep your voice down. Aren't you afraid of revenge? What are you afraid of? With their half-human and half-ghost appearance? How dare they go back to school? The classmates' contemptuous eyes swept across Gu Hui Yan's lower body. Gu Hui Yan was so angry that her eyes rolled up and she fainted directly. The next day, the police came to me for questioning. It goes without saying that Gu Hui Yan attributed all the misfortunes she encountered to me. I insisted that when Gu Hui Yan got into trouble, I was drunk in the bathroom. Thanks to Gu Hui Yan on Su Man, they were determined to frame me, undask someone, to hack the KTV surveillance in advance, which indirectly helped me hide my traces yesterday. After the police understood the situation, they let me go. In their eyes, no matter how powerful I was, I, a weak girl, could not bring Gu Hui Yan and others to the boxing. Let those big men do whatever they wanted to them. The police learned about the conflict between Gu Hui Yan and me from the students, and felt that Gu Hui Yan simply couldn't stand me and threw dirty water on me. Later, the police searched Gu Hui Yan and Su Man's mobile phones and found their transaction records with those big men, which further verified their guess. Not only that, the police also found evidence from their chat records that they bullied my sister and threw dirty water on her. Because someone took a video of what happened to the cake EV and posted it on the internet. The incident caused a huge uproar and the police chose to publish the results of the investigation on the internet. Those who originally sympathized with Gu Huiyan and Su Man scolded them for what they deserved. So far, the injustice of my sister has finally been washed away. But this is not enough. Gu Huiyan and others, who should have been imprisoned for life, had their parents give them a mental illness appraisal, and the report showed that they were mentally ill. As we all know, it is not illegal for a mentally ill person to kill someone. In the end, they were sent to a mental hospital. I was not surprised by this result. The parents of this group of people have some power in the city and are indeed able to let their children escape legal sanctions. During this period, Su Man was also admitted to a mental hospital. He was disfigured by Gu Huiyan and his limbs were broken alive. He hated Gu Huiyan. After recovering from his injuries, he stabbed Gu Huiyan half to death under the pretext of visiting Gu Huiyan. Later, the nurse found out and rescued Gu Huiyan. In theory, Su Man should also go to jail for intentional injury, but Su Man's parents did not want to see her in jail, so they simply sent her to a mental hospital, fearing that she would retaliate against Gu Huiyan again, and also fearing that Gu Huiyan would retaliate. The two people's residences were separated by several buildings, and they had no chance to meet each other at ordinary times. Later, I went to the mental hospital to visit Gu Huiyan. These people were taken care of by special people in there, and their lives were very good, but the experience in the cake, EV that day completely destroyed them from body to mind. They are like rats in the gutter, hiding in the dark, afraid of light, afraid of other people's strange eyes, and surrounded by the smell of decay as if their lives will gradually rot and stink. When Gu Huiyan saw me, he looked gloomy, like a devil who was about to climb out of hell. He suddenly picked up a chair and rushed towards me, shouting, "How dare you come to see me? I will kill you now." Through a glass, Gu Huiyan didn't even touch the corner of my clothes. He vented his anger and fell on the glass with his fist, and sat back on the chair. When he saw me laughing, he said gloomily, shouting, "You came to see me laugh today, right? Yes, I was completely ruined by you, but you can't escape. The police don't believe me, but my parents do. When the storm of this incident is over, your death will come. I ruined the only son of the Gu family. The Gu family wanted to cut me into pieces, but they were worried about the police. The police knew that Gu Huiyan wanted me to die. If something happened to me now, the police would definitely suspect the Gu family. They could only wait a little longer. Facing his intimidation, I remained calm. Have you finished? It's my turn now. I looked at him, and a green light flashed in my eyes. 3 minutes later, I asked, "Do you remember what I said?" Gu Huiyan looked dazed. "I remember." I got up and left and visited the other classmates who were locked up in the mental hospital one by one. A month later, I saw news about Gu Huiyan and others in the news report. They were arrested by the police again. It turned out that not long after they were locked up in the mental hospital, they were secretly taken home by their parents to take care of them. A few days later, they attacked their biological parents. It is said that the parents, who have always been arrogant, had their eyes wide open before they died, full of disbelief. They didn't understand why their precious son would turn the knife tip to themselves. They knew about their son's evil deeds in school, but they indulged and covered them up. In their eyes, those bullied students were inferior people. Who let these people get in the way of their children? They deserved to be bullied as long as their son was happy. Their children had caused a big trouble, and they also took the blame, but they did not expect that the sons they had carefully taught would stab themselves to death. When they were taken away by the police, Gu Huiyan and the others had illusory smiles on their faces, as if they were in a dream, and they murmured, "Damn it, damn it. If it weren't for their connivance, I wouldn't have ended up like this." Later, they were sobered up by the cold wind. They saw the knife in their hands and the corpse in the house, and they were stunned and collapsed. "No, it's wrong. It's all wrong." And able to bear such a huge stimulation, they rolled their eyes and fainted. I nodded with satisfaction. This is right. If the son is not taught well, it is the fault of the father. Gu Hui Yan and the others dared to bully my sister unscrupulously, which was inseparable from the connivance of their parents. The parents of these beasts also deserved to die. Gu Hui Yan and the others were sent to the mental hospital again. Without their parents, they completely lost their backing and had to spend their whole lives in it. This was more painful for them than killing them. Gu Hui Yan and the others tried to sneak away, but they were caught and tied to the bed after running a few steps. In order to make them obedient, the nurses fed them a lot of medicine, and they became confused. Later, the parents whose children were bullied by them and went crazy sneaked into the mental hospital as nurses, and their lives were worse than death. At first, Gu Hui Yan and the others were still very stubborn and said that they would never let the nurses go after they got out, but as time passed, the hope in their hearts gradually turned into despair. They seemed to be forgotten. After being locked up in the mental hospital again, no one came to see them. They can only live in this small room for the rest of their lives, living a terrible life that can be seen at a glance. After a period of time, the original favored children of heaven became neither human nor ghost, and they exuded an unpleasant smell. They finally began to regret that they had bullied so many people in school. Now, the parents of that group of people are like evil spirits. Sometimes the parents will bring their crazy children to bully Gu Hui and others together. It's not that Gu Hui Yan and the others didn't think about begging for mercy, but it was useless. The parents would only say coldly if begging for mercy worked, their children wouldn't be driven crazy. Asking for help was even more useless. The staff knew about their past evil deeds and would only ignore them. As long as the person was not dead, the staff would let the caregivers do whatever they wanted. When Gu Hui, Yan and the others became the targets of bullying and felt the pain of crying out to the sky and the earth for no response, they finally felt a little sorry for the crazy people they bullied and realized how excessive their behavior was. However, it was too late. They drove the children of the caregivers crazy, so how could the caregivers let them go easily? They thought about using death to end their painful lives, but they couldn't do it at all. They were watched too closely, and they were fed medicine, so they worse off all over, and they didn't even have the strength to walk to the rooftop. The sharpness in the house was also taken away, and death became a luxury. If nothing unexpected happened, they would be trapped in this hell for the rest of their lives, unable to live or die. After doing all this, I held a bunch of daisies and went to the cemetery with my mother to visit my sister. There was a photo of my sister on the tombstone. She smiled innocently, just like the way I remembered her. I had a gentle expression and gently stroked her forever young face. I'm sorry, sister, I'm late. Those who bullied you are either dead or living a life worse than death. If you are still alive, you can rest in peace. A butterfly landed on my shoulder. I touched it gently with my hand, and it didn't hide. I smiled and said, I'll just assume you know. As soon as I finished speaking, the butterfly circled around my mother and me twice and flew towards the stream in the forest. When its figure disappeared from my sight, I turned and went down the mountain. Will you go back to Grandma's house next? I want to go out for a walk. My mother looked at me with a worried look on her face. Don't kill people. Noe smiled innocently. You know, I have always been determined to be a good person. My mother clasped her hands together and began to pray. I just thought she had lost one daughter and was afraid that the other daughter would also meet with an accident. Don't worry, I will protect myself. Of course I know, my mother said, looking at the mountains and forests in the distance, her voice as light as a feather. I am praying for those who have offended you, hoping that they can at least live after provoking you, and not. I didn't let her continue. I held her arm and walked down the mountain. The setting sun stretched our shadows very long, and there was a smell of grass and daisies in the wind. In the distance, someone's radio was playing a song, singing good and evil will be rewarded in the end. I listened and gently curled my lip. Yes, good and evil will be rewarded in the end. This is what I always believe in and what I do in practice. As for whether I am a good person, maybe not, but I know that in this chaotic world, some people need bad people like me to make them learn to be respectful. And I will continue to walk on this edge in my own way, neither falling into the abyss nor being trapped in the light. After all, there are too many corners in this world that are not illuminated by the sun, and someone needs to illuminate them, even if it is the most blazing flame.